Am I the asshole for making my boyfriend feel uncomfortable after he insisted on joining us on girls' night in? My boyfriend M, 27, started asking to join me in my girls' night in. Every time I tried to say no he'd be like, "I have to join or you'll have to cancel." It made me and the girls miserable having to sit there with him in the middle. This past Friday he insisted to join us again. I had enough. I came up with an idea to get him to hate hanging out with us, made a plan and told the girls what we were going to do, and they were down for OT. The girls came and my boyfriend immediately sat with us and started ruining our conversations by steering them towards him, his work, his achievement. So here's what I did. I started bringing up gross, embarrassing subjects and the girls were eating them up by talking about them in details. Subjects like sex, periods, his most sensitive spot, cramp, diarrhea, hairy legs, fart getting trapped in the vulva and coming out the front, squeezing shit out of our faces, cramp diarrhea, dirty underwear, and again, cramp diarrhea. We talked about this stuff in boring details, like, I could feel his discomfort without even looking at him. But God, when I turned to see why he got quiet suddenly. He was getting red in the face, and had sweat all over his forehead. I bet he found himself unable to relate to Thai's subject, thus couldn't take part in the conversation. He got up from the couch ready to head out. I looked at him and asked where he was going and he was like, I just remembered that I have an important meeting with a guy in about 10 minutes and I have to go now. He rushed out telling us to have fun. The girls and I started laughing hysterically. He came home and berated me saying I made him feel uncomfortable, sick with the horrible subjects I kept bringing. I said, "What you talking about? This is the typical stuff girls talk about all the time." But he insisted I made him upset and caused him to leave. He declined to speak to me and been quiet since then. Am I the asshole? UPDATW y'all. Wow. Just got home and left this post at 70-ish comments. And here I am looking at hundreds of comments but only read a bunch. You guys. Thank you so much for your feedback and enlightening advice. Just to add context. This is his apartment. He tells me who is and isn't allowed to come, and I thought this was fine since it's his place, though I help with the bills, but he makes so much more as the head of security in his company, so that's that. I just can't believe how dense and blind I've been to his negative ways. He's still giving me the silent treatment and I've decided it's just a lot to take, and so I'm temporarily moving in with one of the girls and will now be definitely reconsidering few things. Just wanted to keep you guys updated since many of you got engaged in this post. Thank you so much for those DMing me their concerns. Appreciate your time and concerns. Many hugs go out to you guys. I really appreciate y'all. The big question is, why are you choosing to be with a man that refuses to respect your right to hang out with other people without him? Edited to add. Thank you Redditors. You are too kind. Not the asshole, I have to join or you have to cancel, is controlling. Rethink your relationship with him. Not the asshole. But there's nothing funny about this story. Your boyfriend is attempting to exert coercive control over your actions. Look up. There are red flags flying from all the flagpoles. Well, he wanted to be a part of girls' night. He finally was. Not the asshole. Also, I have to join or you'll have to cancel. TF is wrong with your boyfriend? Not the asshole, but you are missing the forest for the trees. You're congratulating yourself on grossing him out into leaving and ignoring the real problem. He has all the hallmarks of an abuser. Controlling you. Attempting to isolate you. Shaming you about basic functions of your body. You need to dump this guy. Not the asshole, but I have to ask, what on earth is this? I have to join or you'll have to cancel. Oh heck no. You have the right to time on your own with your friends. Is he controlling elsewhere? Please take some time to reflect on your relationship because this is completely unreasonable and inappropriate behavior from him. Not the asshole. Here sis, you dropped these. Location flag, 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 location flag. 1. Can't let you have alone time with your friends? 2. Can't handle period talk? 3. Gets angry with you for talking about normal body functions with your friends? Honey, throw the whole man out. Info. Why are you with someone who says, I have to join or you'll cancel? Because that sounds insane. Am I the asshole for telling my son exactly what my husband did despite him begging me not to tell? I have a son, Adam 14. From my previous marriage, I'm currently with my husband of 4 years. I handle everything related to Adam's school. He has a friend, Dean 14, that he started hanging out with a year ago. Dean is an amazing boy and has been nothing but a great influence for Adam. I met Dean's dad, Mike, who's a single dad, and we'd see each other daily for school pickup, drop-offs. My husband kept asking about Mike and pointed out that he's being boundary stomping, but I disagree. Unfortunately, Adam fell sick months ago and had to undergo a surgery recently. It's been hard, but Dean kept visiting. Sometimes Mike would come too, and my husband would either ignore Mike or make passive comments towards him. Mike picked up on that, and I told my husband to knock it off cause his hostility affected Adam and Dean as well. Days ago, I found Adam crying in his room. This was weeks after getting discharged. I asked and he said that Dean sent him a text telling him they were no longer friends and blocked his number. I was confused. They were fine. I wanted to go talk to Dean, but the next day I found his phone in my husband's car. I confronted him and he said he borrowed it from Dean, but I didn't buy it. After pushing, he confessed that he stole Dean's phone at the hospital and sent Adam a text telling him to not contact him again. I asked why, and he said it was all Mike's fault for being too close to me and acting inappropriately, and said that he didn't want to directly tell Adam to no longer speak to Dean and chose this strategy to not make Adam hate him while keeping Dean and by extension Mike away. This hit a nerve so hard I started screaming at him. He said he already expressed how uncomfortable he felt with Mike being around, and I kept brushing it off. I said it was because of how ridiculous his argument was. Mike has been nothing but respectable and helpful. I yelled, calling him insecure and unreasonable and also cruel for causing Adam heartache with his stunt. He begged I don't tell Adam, but I took the phone and returned it to Dean and explained to him and Adam what happened. Adam is no longer speaking to my husband and he is blaming me for telling instead of keeping it between the adults like I'm supposed to. Holy moly, not the asshole. So let me get this straight. Your husband, the one that stole a phone from a kid and then used said stolen phone to mentally abuse your sick son because of his own insecurities, is now blaming you for salvaging your son's friendship and giving back the stolen property? What? He is blaming me for telling instead of keeping it between the adults like I'm supposed to. Which adults is he talking about? Because stealing Dean's phone to text Adam to not contact him again, just to keep Mike away from you, does not sound like adult behavior. He needs to apologize to Adam and get counseling for his insecurity. You are not the asshole. YTA if you stay married to this controlling, abusive man. He isn't just isolating you, he's isolating Adam from his best friend because he doesn't like that Dean's father is a single man you speak to. Even if in some way you and Mike were flirting or having an affair, this would still not be appropriate behavior. Not the asshole for telling Adam. But you need to kick your spouse out of your life immediately. INFO. Is Mike ready to mingle? Sounds like you could use an upgrade. In all seriousness, not the asshole. Your husband broke the law by stealing another person's property. What's worse, that person was just a kid himself. On top of that, he used that stolen property to cause emotional and mental distress to your son. I'm surprised there was no violence. That room would have been painted in red if it were me in your shoes. Especially considering it sounds like Adam is still recovering from surgery, though I could be wrong about that. NTA, get a divorce yesterday. Your husband used his jealousy and distrust to try and ruin your son's friendship. No going back from that. Slow down. Your husband was willing to rip his son's closest friend away, in one of the cruelest ways imaginable to a young kid, because of pointless jealousy? I was that kid. Someone sent me that text, well, it was a letter. I'm old now, against their will, written by their parents, in the 2nd grade. I have long-term trust issues now. He's shown you how much he cares about your son. Believe him. Protect Adam. Not the asshole. NTA. Whoa. Your husband is playing a dangerous game. All because he is significant other insecure. He hurt 2 kids for what? He needs therapy and you and your son need a break from your second child. Maybe a nice trip with Dean and Mike? Not the asshole. Jesus Christ. I don't even care if Mike was boundary stomping, your husband is sneaky as hell and a massive liar. 4 years together. I'd be surprised if this was the first lies he has told. Am I the asshole for reading explicit books in public? So this is not as serious as most posts here, but I am feeling a bit guilty and thought to ask. I, 28F, was on the train yesterday, it wasn't busy at all. Since it was a long trip I starts reading a book, on my phone, that has some very explicit mature scenes. The man sitting beside me was very obviously reading over my shoulder, which I thought was very rude, but I didn't stop him when I got to a very steamy scene. Barely a few seconds and he makes this disgusted noise, then says, "How could you read that filth in public? Are you a pervert?" This is sexual harassment. I was surprised. I thought at most he would be embarrassed and avert his eyes. Well, I have no shame, so I said, "No one told you to look at my phone screen. Should I really harass you and start reading it to you out loud?" He turned red and changed seats. But after I cooled down I felt a bit bad for my response. Also, I know most people would feel awkward reading smut in public. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole at all, what a creep. Also, what a prude, it's just a sex scene. He's lucky you weren't reading something actually messed up, he might have fainted. Not the asshole. It's like you are eating lunch and he sits down, takes a bite and is like, "Yuck, this is not good." NTA. He was being a nosy bastard. That's on him. You called him out in a wonderful way, and embarrassed him. He's not the literature police. He sounds creepy. Read what you want. You weren't watching a porn. No worries. Not the asshole. I mean, I read explicit manga in public, and that's a whole lot easier to see what I'm reading. Now a text-based document, unless he has Superman vision, he had to be snooping pretty closely. Not the asshole. Seriously, how big is your screen? How on earth could that rude man even know what you're reading without absolutely trying to see your screen? It wasn't sexual harassment, it was him snooping and being embarrassed because it was something he wasn't comfortable with. His actions were rude as hell, and your response was perfect. Not the asshole. It's not harassment when he's willingly reading the book. Not the asshole. I don't know what that guy's problem was. If I was reading over your shoulder I would have said, "Don't stop scrolling now. It's getting to the good part." Not the asshole. What book tell us? Am I the asshole for not sharing my water with boyfriend while on a hike? For context, I am a college student and an avid hiker. My boyfriend, who I met on campus, is also grad student pursuing a different field. We both live in the same city, but I have lived here for half of my life while my boyfriend moved here last August to pursue his degree. To put it plainly, we live in the desert. Spring just began and temperatures have already been hitting 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 32.2 degrees Celsius. However, I've grown accustomed to the weather and take all the precautionary measures when going outside, especially to hike. My boyfriend is from the East Coast and also claims the title of an avid hiker. He caught the tail end of the summer and admitted to spending the majority of that time either at his apartment or at school. Because he never actually hiked in the heat, I reminded him to start drinking more water to prepare for the hotter days. For some reason, my comment had struck a chord with him and he became visibly upset. He said, "I've been hiking before and I'm a former Eagle Scout. You don't need to condescend me about drinking water. I can survive in the wild." Hurt by his comment, I never brought up the topic of water again. Yesterday, we decided to finally do a longer hike in the mountains. He had done research and wanted to do one of the more popular hikes in the city. Now I've done this hike before. I know how grueling it can be, especially in the heat. Because of a pre-scheduled Zoom meeting, I decided to meet my boyfriend at the trailhead. I arrive equipped with my day pack, 3L bladder and some water bottles for good measure. He only has one 24 ounces bottle and nothing else. Knowing how sensitive he is about water, I decide not to say anything. About 3 hours in, I notice his water bottle is empty. Since we aren't even at the peak, I spare the extra water bottles that I packed. Once we finally make to the peak I realize that the water bottles I gave him are empty as well. I think nothing of it and think that he's just gonna have to suffer in silence. The hike down is about 2 hours down and I'm down to 1 liter of water left in my bladder. I know that this is enough to keep me hydrated and comfortable for the descent. But as soon as we set off, I feel the nozzle of the bladder get caught on something. Thinking it was getting stuck on fauna or a cactus, I turn around and to my surprise I find my boyfriend trying to steal sips of my water. I'm instantly angry that he would try and steal my water after giving so much grief about it. I snatch the nozzle out of his hand, a retort. I thought Eagle Scouts could survive in the wild? He became angry and hiked ahead. By the time I got back to the trailhead he had driven off. He hasn't texted me since the incident and now I can't help but wonder if I'm the Not the asshole. You shared your water with him. You gave him your water bottles. And, based on your account, he didn't even ask for more water, he just tried to take it, presumably so he wouldn't have to directly admit that you had been right and he had been wrong about how much water is necessary for these trips. Right now, he's having a temper tantrum and sulking. Don't let that mislead you into thinking that you did anything wrong. He's upset because you were right and you pointed out his arrogance in a way he could not refute. Not the asshole. I don't get the endangering his life bullshit people keep going on about. He drank 24 ounces plus 4 water bottle that were likely 16 ounces each. He was not even close to dangerously dehydrated, just thirsty. Which was entirely his fault. He failed to prepare and got pissy with Op when she tried to tell him. He's not her kid, not her job to keep pestering him and making sure he has his shit together. And his life was never in danger, this could not have killed him. And the snarky comment was fair. He tried to steal the rest of her water after drinking all her extra and boasting about how he could handle the hike without her advice. Not the asshole I live in as. When someone from the desert tells you to drink water you do. I was about to say YTA but you did share water with him. You gave him bottles after his ran out, you just didn't let him hog it all. Boyfriend need to listen to people who know how to live in the heat. Not the asshole this guy would steal water from you, would not support you in a zombie attack. Not the asshole. I can't believe the number of people giving you crap because your boyfriend Dunning-Krugered on you. He thought he knew better than you and told you to stop bothering him. But he and these commenters continue to think you should take responsibility for him and his big brain decisions. He brought his own water and didn't ration it. You gave him plenty of water. He didn't ration that either. And then he steals your water so you can't ration it. No qualms with screwing you over. He's definitely living the play stupid games, win stupid heatstroke lifestyle. Leave this man. Leave this man before he chooses another literal hill to die on and tries to drag you down with him. Not the asshole. He wanted to be Mr. Macho Man about something he didn't know a crap about and chastised you for daring to educate him on something you're familiar with. He sounds like an asshole both on and off the hike. Then instead of hurting his pride and asking you, he decides to steal it and gets pissed when you call him out on it. Reconsider this one. Not the asshole. This made me laugh. You guys should break up. Not the asshole. I mean, he could have simply said, yeah, I effed up about the water, can I have a sip from your bladder? But no, he had to try and sneak it. That's what makes him ta.